I am your foundation teacher. And yesterday in this last session we discussed about the animal husbandry, right children, from the 8th standard, crop production and management, CBSE, right? Okay. So what we discussed, just we recall in 5 minutes, okay children? So before that I would like to announce this, we are starting the foundation course from the April 1st onwards. We started the first batch and the next batch is going to start from the April 15. And don't miss this opportunity children. And children, see, our main motto is, to understand the conceptual learning. On the exams of JEE and NEET, the conceptual analysis of detailed concepts of JEE and NEET concept level understanding we are making to provide by through animations, videos, and you get the concept to be understand from us. And the quality of teaching is done by the experienced teachers only, and mainly one-on-one interactions of doubt clearing sessions will be provided. And children, the main subjects we are covered by with us is physics, chemistry, mathematics and biology. And children, it should be a very great learning for you. We are using the digital mode learning, and children, you can get easily the concepts should be understood for you by very easily. And children, so don't miss this opportunity. We are starting the new batch from the April 15th onwards. So children, be contact with us. The mode of learning is through by both offline also and online also, online also. For offline people, you can happily come to your institute name called NEET World, present in Narayani, Hyderabad, near metro station. And children who want to join through online platform, you can download our app name called MedWorld, and the down scrolling number will be there. No, just contact through us by with that number. Okay, children. So by going to the today's session, just fastly recall yesterday's session children. We discussed about the 1 minute. Yes. One minute children. In yesterday's session we discussed about the what is animal husbandry, right children, and what are the main 1 minute. What are the main foods we take day to day life as a food sources from animals, right children? So what is meant by, first fastly we recall this, what is meant by animal husbandry? First you know about the animal husbandry, you should know about the domestication. What is meant by domestication? The practice and rearing of breeding animals for specific purposes for of the human use is called domestication. Such animals we call it as domesticated animals, right children? And the breeding, feeding and caring of domesticated animals for food and other purposes we call it as animal husbandry. In animal husbandry, the mainly in day to day life we depend on the food purpose mainly for the milk, right? For the milk comes from cattle, right children? The cattle may be cow, buffalo, goat, etc., right children? The rearing of cattle we call it as dairy farming, right? Next, another one we are mainly depends on eggs and meat, right? Eggs and meat come from the birds like hens, ducks and turkeys, quails. We depend on the both eggs and meat for these birds, right children? The rearing of these birds, and these birds we call it as for the purpose of egg and meat, we call it as poultry farming, right? The eggs and meat having the very high protein content, in that egg having all proteins except vitamin C, right? Meat having the very high protein content, right children? Milk having the mainly calcium, iron, right children? these are the main nutrients, main vitamins present in the milk, and in egg all vitamins are present except vitamin C. Right children? In meat especially the protein content is more high. Right children? And another food source we depend on day to day life is fish. The culturing of fishes we call it as aquaculture. The rearing of aquatic organisms we call it as aquaculture. In the freshwater culture we do, and marine culture also will do. Right children? Marine means high salinity content is more. Salinity is more. And for the freshwater, salinity is low in content. Those fishes we call it as freshwater fishes, and those they culture in the marine water we call it as marine culture, marine fishes. Right children? Now fish having the main important nutrient called omega 3 fatty acids. Omega 3 fatty acids. Fatty acids having the, why the fatty acids required to our body? It prevents the heart diseases, heart strokes and all that. That is why the omega 3 fatty acid is more rich in fish. Right children? We call it as is fish farming. Right children? So these are the main we cover the topics in the yesterday's session. Right? So coming to the another, how many vitamins are essential for the human body children? For the nutrition purpose we are depending on the animals, right? How many vitamins actually necessary for human body for their growth and development? There are 13 vitamins are essential for the human body for the growth and development. Right children? So, and we discussed about the integrated farming. What is integrated farming? What is integrated farming? What is meant by term integrated mean? Combinations of various. Combinations of various. Integrated farming, combinations of various agriculture branches. We call it as integrated farming. You know, in the small landscape of agriculture field, they used to rear the animal husbandry, cattle, right? And they also do the poultry farming, and also they make agriculture field, right children? And also they form little pond, they culture the aquatic organisms, right children? Thereby in the what is the advantage of the integrated farming? For the integrated farming, the inputs from the outside sources will be reduced, thereby the farmer get profit. It is a cheaper and very convenient method. For the small scale farming, integrated farming is very useful, right children? The cattle waste is provided to the plants, right children, and used as a manure for the agriculture purposes, and the waste of the poultry farming is going to feed for the aquaculture, thereby the fish having the feed, this is how the managing of the integrated farming is done. Thereby it is very cheaper and convenient method for the small scale farming, right? And next another what we discussed, rearing of honeys. Honey is having the very medicinal property, right? See, 1 minute children. Okay, wait. So the rearing of honeybees we call it as apiculture, and the place we rear the honeybees we call it as apiary, right children? There are 3 types of bees will be there: one worker bee, drone bee and queen bee. Who will collect the honey? The worker bees collect the honey, right children? The drone bees are involved in mating, right? And queen bees are having the eggs, laying of eggs. So the royal jelly feed to the larvae of the honeybees, right children? This is the place we call it as the apiary, right? The comb structures of bees are known as combs. These are the combs, right? So that depends on the type of the bee, and the worker bee comb is very different, and the drone bee, the comb is different, and queen bee comb is different. Likewise, the combs are different in sizes based on the types of bees, and the more we rear the Apis indica and Apis mellifera, right children? And honey having the many medicinal property. The most main property is antioxidant. It acts as an antioxidant, which means the free radicals which are damage the cells, they prevent not to damage the cells, right children? So honey is used as a antioxidants. That is why it is very used in the medicinal field. And children, see, and bee venom also used in some medicinal applications to treat the diseases, right children? And it is very, honey having the 60 to 80% water content, and remaining 20% is sucrose, sweetness. That is why we call it as a natural sweetener. Honey as a natural sweetener. And what else we discussed in yesterday's class about aquaculture? Of course, the farming of fish, we call it as pisciculture. What is meant by pisciculture? Pisciculture means the rearing of large scale fishes for food purpose. We call it as pisciculture. The mainly the required desirable fishes, desirable aquatic species only we culture them. What are they? Prawns, mussels, shrimps, lobsters and crabs. Here see, lobsters, crabs, mussels, shrimps, prawns, like this aquatic farming will be done. That we call it as a pisciculture. What means sericulture? Sericulture is the rearing of silk. We call it as sericulture, right? For the purpose of clothing, for purpose of fiber and all that. And the main revolutions taken by the government is a white revolution. What is meant by white revolution? Its main motto is to increase the production of milk, right children? So the white programs were established to increase the milk production. That we call it as Operation Flood, and the Operation Flood main motto is to increase high milk yielding to to sufficient the needs of the increased population, right children? So the father of the white revolution is Dr. Verghese Quirin, and the silver revolution refers to the tremendous increase of egg production, and blue revolution increase in the fish production, right children? This is what we discussed in the yesterday's class, and we solved the level 2 questions also, right children? So we left out some of the questions from the level 3, right? Let's solve this in this session. So don't forget children, the vitamins are very essential for our human body for the growth and development. Okay, so let's discuss the topics we completed till now. Based on that we'll make a questions. We solve the questions on that. Okay, see, given below is a list of few chemicals that are used in protection of crops, right? In yesterday's class till second question we solved the questions of the level 3 questions, right? Now we'll go to the next question. 1 minute. So here they are asking the given below is a list of few chemicals they are given here, and they are used to what is the purpose and the what kind of protection they are giving from the crops. So what they asked? Delapon, they asked Sinagine, Butachlor, Diacystone, Melatonin, Gemaxin. How many of these are insecticides they are asking? How many of these are insecticides? Right. How many of these are insecticides? See, Delapon, Sinagine, Butachlor these three are weedicides. To remove the unwanted plants, right? To remove the unwanted plants, the chemical sprayer through the chemicals are sprays through the crops to reduce the weedy plants. We call it as weeding process. So these are the Delapon, Sinagine, Butachlor or the 3 weedicides, right children? Then what is meant by diacystone, melatonin, gamaxin? What is these are? These three are insecticides. These three are insecticides. Insects harm the crops very widely. They come in the groups and damage the crops. To protect that to protect the crops, desirable crops, they used to use the insecticides. So diacystone, melatonin, gamaxin are the insecticides. Diacystone, gamaxin and melatonin are the insecticides. So the answer is 3. So the answer is 3. The first one answer is 3. And if you don't know about the insecticides, we discussed about the weedicide traits. Delapon, Sinaja and Butachlor are 3 are the weedicides. Then what is the remaining are will be insecticides. This is how the analysis of the question will be done. Right children, we have to analyze the question very clearly. And coming to the next question, following are the differences between manure and fertilizers they asked. Differences asked, and which of the given difference is incorrect. They are asking the incorrect statements. We have to find the what is incorrect statements here. Wait. They are asking the incorrect statement, right children? So what is meant? They asked manures and fertilizers. They are not easily be soluble in water, so they are absorbed slowly by the roots of the plants. This is absolutely correct. Manures are not easily soluble in water, and they absorb very slowly by the roots. And coming to the fertilizers, they are soluble in water, they are absorbed by the plants easily, right? So the first one is correct answer. The first statement is correct, right? Let's see the more statements given about the manures and fertilizers. The first statement is correct. They asked the incorrect statement, right children? So coming to the next statement, these are inorganic substances. Manure is inorganic substance? No, it is absolutely wrong statement. They asked incorrect statement, right children? So this is the wrong statement. These are the organic substance? No, right? Manure are the organic substance. Fertilizers are the inorganic salts. So the first statement is absolutely wrong from the both cases. Next, excessive use does not harm the soil texture. They provide humus to the soil. This is absolutely right statement children. The excessive use of manure does not harm the soil. It maintains the soil texture. It is absolutely right statement. And coming to the fertilizers, excessive use can change the chemical composition of the soil. Of course, the physical and chemical properties of the soil can be changed by the fertilizers. Right children? And also pollutes water. That leads to the water pollution. That leads to the eutrophication. Right? So this is how the second statement is also right. Right children? The eutrophication is done by the excess use of fertilizers. When the heavy rains are there, then the water drains into the water bodies. Thereby the eutrophication will be happen. The water will be polluted. Thereby the effect on the aquatic organisms will be seen. That is why excess use change the chemical composition of the water. That leads to the water pollution. So coming to fourth statement, they restore the soil texture and help in water retention. Of course, fourth statement is also correct. About the manure, they damage the soil texture. This is also right statement only. So these are nutrient specific. No. Fifth statement is wrong. Manures are not nutrient specific. Fertilizers are nutrient specific because the primary, the primary nutrients like NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, these are provided by the fertilizers. Right children? That is why the tremendous increase in the yields will be seen. In manures not like that. It absorbs slowly by the roots and they are not also nutrient specific. Right children? The answer is second statement is wrong and fifth statement is wrong. Right children? So first we have to eliminate the options. So first statement is right according to the statements. First statement is right and also third statement is right. Right. 1, 3 are right children. 1, 3, 4 are right. So we have to eliminate where these options are present. So 1 here present, D option is wrong. In B also first option is 1, that is also wrong. and 3 option in C, it is also wrong, 3 and 4. So the answer is 2 and 5. This is how we have to eliminate the questions. Okay, the first answer is 2 and 5 is the right answer. These are the incorrect statements according to the given statements of the differences between the menus and fertilizers. Right, so let's move to the another question. 1 minute. Okay, right. So here they given the given box shows some Rabi and Kharif crops. We studied about this Rabi and Kharif crops, right children? Identify these crops and select the option correctly, categorize them. They given some of the examples of the Kharif and Rabi crops, right children? So we have to be analyze what is the correct statement. So before that, let's recall this little topic of Rabi and Kharif crops. Rabi crops are also called as winter crops, right children? Rabi crops are also called as winter crops. I used to say that RW to have you remember like this, and KR. KR means rainy crops. Kharif crops are also called as rainy crops. Right children? So winter crops, first rainy crops. They started in the season of when they are going to be cultivated Kharif crops in the month of June, and they are going to be at the end of the season of rainy season. Like the harvested period of the Kharif crops is September. Right. So coming to the winter crops are grown cultivated in the month of October or November, and they are going to harvest at the month of April or March. Right children? And these are about the Kharif crops. That is why Kharif crops are called as rainy crops. They are grown in the month of June or July, and they are going to be harvested in the month of September or October. And coming to the Rabi crops, they are also called as winter crops, and they are grown in the month of October. They are cultivated in the month of October, and their harvested period is from the month of April or March. Right children? So they asked about the examples now, right? Let's see this. Identify these crops, select the option correctly. So we have given the mnemonic for it right now. Children, what are for the Rabi crops? For the Rabi crops, the examples are mustard, wheat, pulse, right children? Gram, pea, lentil, garlic, coriander and fenugreek. So we given the mnemonic, right children? Just recall it. Mustard, wheat, pulse grown in cold fields. M means mustard, V means wheat, P means pulses, G means garlic, C means coriander, F means fenugreek. And coming to the examples of Kharif crops children. So I given the mnemonic of paddy grows after heavy rainfall. P means paddy, rice, G means groundnut, A means arhar, pigeon pea, H means horse gram, ragi, finger millets, like that. So according to this we have to categorize the Rabi crops and Kharif crops examples, right? So see, first option given, Rabi is wheat. So Rabi having the wheat, right? So Kharif crops are mustard. So see here, 1 minute children. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, see. First they have what they given, Rabi is wheat. Here the Rabi crops having the wheat, of course, and they have barley, linseed, cotton, maize. And coming to the Kharif crops option, they given sugarcane, mustard they given, right? So mustard is from the example of Rabi crops, right? So the first answer is wrong. So the first one answer is wrong. So coming to the Rabi crops, next option, Rabi is mustard, linseed, barley, wheat, chickpea. So next coming to the Kharif crops examples, they given the sugarcane, cotton, maize, sorghum, groundnut and soya bean. So this is the absolutely right answer for this question. So let's see another two questions, because the mustard, the most of the examples are present in the option B option. So that is why we have to make the analysis that is the B is the correct answer. Let's see other two options also here. Rabi crops having the sugar cane, linseed, groundnut. Groundnut is absolutely from the kharif crop example, right children? So the answer C is wrong answer. Coming to the D option, Rabi is wheat, yes, barley, sugarcane, sorghum, chickpea. Okay, coming to the kharif crops, mustard is from the very good example of Rabi crops. So answer is absolutely B. Right children? So these are the wrong answers. A, C and B are eliminated. B is the correct answer of this fifth question. Right children? So, coming to the next question. Okay, these are very simple questions. See, honeybee culture is known as, what is the honeybee culture we known as? Apiculture. The api word means, it came derived from the Latin word apis means honeybee. So that is why the rearing of honeybees we call it as apiculture. Right children, what is meant by silviculture? The tremendous increase of, yes, about the eggs we call it as the silver culture, right? Sericulture means the rearing of the silk, we call it as sericulture. What is meant by pisciculture? The rearing of fishes in a large scale for the food purpose, we call it as pisciculture. So the answer of this question is apiculture. How many types of bees will be there? Worker bee, drone bee and queen bee. The most involved in the collect the honey is worker bee. Worker bee collects the honey. Right, worker bee collects honey. The place where the honeybees we call it as apiary. The honey having the mainly medicinal property of antioxidant. It having the more amount of antioxidant property. What is mean by antioxidant? It prevents the cells from free radicals. Cells from free radicals. The free radicals which damage the cells. So thereby by this antioxidant properties, it protects the cells. So this is what about the apiculture children. So coming to the next question, the nutritive element found in large amount of soya bean and pulses. Soya bean and pulses. The people who are not who are non-vegetarians, who are vegetarians, they prefer only food from the plants. They have to based on the plant products only for their vitamins, nutrients and all that, right? So mainly the protein content which is mainly involved in these plants, soybean and pulses. Soybean and pulses having very important main content of protein is for the plant based foods, soybean, pulses, flax seeds. Omega-3 fatty acids are more present in the flax seeds. So see, for the animal based foods, omega-3 fatty acids present in fishes, right children? Present in more amount in fishes. For the plant based foods, the omega-3 fatty acids are more rich in flax seeds. Flax seeds. The more amount of omega-3 fatty acids present in flax seeds, chia seeds. So those who are based on the plant foods, the sources of vitamins very rich in omega-3 fatty acids in flax seeds. For the animal based foods, the fish is having more amount of omega-3 fatty acids. Coming to the proteins, protein is very rich in meat. Protein is very rich in meat. Coming to the plant based foods, soya bean, pulses, these having the high content of protein, right children? So milk is, it will take by both. Who doesn't want to eat, it does not come under the non-vegetarian, non-veg. So they have to drink, thereby calcium. So milk having the main vitamin called, oh my god, okay, wait, 1 minute children, okay. One minute. So milk having the high amount of calcium, right children? The milk, oh, 1 minute, okay. The milk having the high amount of calcium. So calcium, what is the main purpose of calcium? It strengthens the bones and teeth. And daily we are taking the 1 glass of milk, means we are getting the calcium from it, right children? The calcium leads to bone strength and teeth. Thereby it prevents the disease of osteoporosis, which means the bones are easily breakable. So it by the calcium, by the strengthening of the bones, we are preventing from the disease of osteoporosis. So this is what about the 7th question. The answer is protein. So the answer is protein is the correct answer. And the carbohydrates are very rich in rice. Carbohydrates are very rich in staple food, rice. And fats and minerals are present in food of protein based foods, of animal based foods in meat, egg and all that. Right children? This is about the 7th question. Let's now see the 8th question. 1 minute. So here the 8th question. See, which revolution played an important role in the production of new varieties of food crops, they are asking. Which revolution played important role in the production of new varieties of fruit crops? So see, we not discussed yet about the topic of green revolution children. Green revolution takes a very tremendous change. Very tremendous change. It is also called as golden era of agriculture. Golden era of agriculture. Why? Because to increase the yield, the main techniques of soil, techniques of both soil and water has been increased. To supply the water and soil, the more amount of modern techniques will be evaluated in the golden era of green revolution. It is started in the 1960s children, 1916. So thereby the more amount of fertilizers, pesticides came into know about to increase the yield of the crops, right children? That is why the revolution played important role in the production of new varieties of food crops. For the food crops, it is a varieties of food crops are increased, their yield was increased during the period of green revolution by the techniques of soil and water, and also through by using fertilizers, pesticides came into light to develop these desirable crops, right children? The main purpose of the green revolution is high yielding varieties. The grains of the per plant is increased, the amount of food is increased very tremendous way. So that is why that leads to the self-sufficient food, that leads to the India to be self-sufficient. That leads to the self-sufficient. In the food, the India is to be self-sufficient through green revolution. First, the father of the green revolution is M.S. Swaminathan. We will discuss about this children today. M.S. Swaminathan. In India, the green revolution, the father of the green revolution is M.S. Swaminathan. Right children? So the very, it plays very important role. That is why the India has, by increasing the demand, by increasing the population to all the people, to get the sufficient food, sufficient amount of food is done by through the green revolution, because the pesticides, fertilizers, weedicides, and high yielding varieties of crops, the cross breeds of plant breeding, that all technique is done in the from the 1960s. It is occurring both that much how much the advantages will be there, and some of the disadvantages also is there for the green revolution, right children? So the answer is C. For this question, the answer is C. 1 minute. Okay. The answer is C. So the main motto of the green revolution is to increase the food by through the high yielding varieties of crops. The amount of grains, the amount of the staple food is increased tremendously. That is why India is self-sufficient for the food. So next question, the crops that would require minimum quantity of urea for its growth is. What is the urea? Urea is a fertilizer, right children? Urea is the fertilizer. The crop that would require minimum amount of urea, fertilizers. When we are discussing the fertilizers, natural methods and artificially how their manure and how the manure is prepared by us in the fields, right children? And fertilizers are inorganic substances that are made up in industries, right? So mainly we use the urea. When we are studying, I said urea is a fertilizer. The main nutrient content of the urea is nitrogen. The main content of the urea is nitrogen. So they are asking the crop would require minimum amount of that should be necessary to have the nitrogen. They are asking what is that crop they are asking. So we know that paddy and wheat, they require the primary nutrients in that nitrogen is more in amount, right children? So here they given groundnut also. Groundnut is a leguminous plant, right children? Leguminous plant. So when it is a leguminous plant, the property of the specialty of leguminous plant is that can able to fix the nitrogen, nitrogen in the soil, right children? So that does not require urea, because urea having the main content of nitrogen. So the answer is B, because the paddy and wheat require more amount of nitrogen. Right children, the primary nutrient they require is nitrogen. More amount of nutrient nitrogen is required for the paddy and wheat, and not they require for the other plants, sugarcane and black gram also they require not as much amount of the required of the paddy field. Paddy field and wheat field, they require more amount of nitrogen than any other crops. So option D is also absolutely wrong, because they can able to fix the nitrogen. So they are leguminous plants, so they cannot. So they can fix the nitrogen. So paddy plants are non-leguminous plants. They cannot able to fix the nitrogen. By the plants of groundnut, they can able to fix the nitrogen. How they can fix? By the natural methods, they are using the mixed cropping, alternation of crops. Like if the first crop is paddy, I have cultivated in the piece of land paddy crop. Then again I cultivated the leguminous crop of groundnut. The amount of nitrogen used by this paddy crop is to be established by the groundnut crop in the next crop, right children? It is almost 260 kgs can fix nitrogen in the 1 hectare minimum. See, if you see the maximum, the greater amount of nitrogen is fixed in the soil, right children? Next they have grown the wheat, right children? So the amount of nitrogen fixed in that soil can able to use by the wheat plant. Next they used the pea plant. Pea plant is also leguminous plants, so they can able to fix the nitrogen in the soil. Again I cultivated the crops of paddy. This is how the alternates of crops should be done. This is the mixed cropping, right children? The alternating of crops for the the main nutrient replenishment should be reduced. Thereby replenishment of nutrients will be happen. The used nutrients will be fulfilled. That is what the mixed cropping. What is meant by intercropping? Intercropping means in the one crop only they used to cultivate 1:2 ratio, 1:2 ratio, 2:1 ratio. They used to in one crop only they used to cultivate crops. If 2 lines are in the wheat crops, another 2 lines of the leguminous crops like groundnut, other 2 lines are of non-leguminous plants. This is how the intercropping is there. So they will be done in the agriculture fields. So the answer of this question is absolutely paddy. Paddy requires more amount of nitrogen. The urea having the more amount of nitrogen. So the answer is B. So next coming to the 10th question, organic farming. Organic farming is a technique of raising crops through the use of. So what is meant by organic farming? Which means not artificially done the farming is. So they used to organic farming. Later after the uses of fertilizers, the tremendous increase of crops is seen, but the amount of damage, disadvantage of the fertilizers are also seen. They leads to the water pollution, that leads to the change the chemical texture and physical texture of the soil, right children? So these are all leads to the disadvantage of the biodiversity. So that then came into the existence of organic farming. Organic farming is the use of manure, biofertilizers, but naturally recovering the fulfilling nutrients, and the crop cultivating should be done. That process we call it as organic farming. The technique is only used without using chemicals. That we call it as organic farming. That involves manure is it involved, biofertilizers, through microorganisms, the naturally regain of the nutrients. So resistant varieties. The answer is D. So the answer is D. All of this is the correct answer according to this question. Right children? So this is up to the level 3 questions children. So now we will discuss about the Green Revolution. So I hope you all clear about these questions children. If any doubts, just comment in the comment section. Thereby I can clear your doubts. So what is Green Revolution? Why is the Green Revolution came into lighten? Why the Green Revolution is so? Why we call the golden era in the period of Green Revolution? Because the key feature of the Green Revolution is high yielding variety of seeds. High yielding variety of seeds that increase the production of crops. And the use of chemical fertilizers. When we are discussing the question and the activity of one fertilizers pot having them shows the minimum growth because they are nutrient specific. The plant need primary nutrients are directly provided through the fertilizers. Right children? The came into existence of use of fertilizers and pesticides. The damaged, the crop is damaged by pesticides, pests. So thereby when we are spraying the pesticides, the pests are reduced. Thereby the crop should be given the yield sufficiently. Thereby these are the main key features of the Green Revolution. That is why we call it as the Green Revolution as the golden era. And the techniques of soil, water, and the both are increased in a tremendous way in the period of 1960s, because that time of the period the Green Revolution is started. So in India, the father of the Green Revolution is M.S. Swaminathan. Right? See, Green Revolution refers to the major change in agriculture because the change begins in 1960s when modern farming techniques were introduced, came in lightened, because they introduced increase in the food production. Modern farming reduces the manual labor by using the tractors, harvesters, threshings, winnowing machines. There came into existence. Thereby the manual labor is reduced, the time is more utilized, and the quantity of crop production is increased. And revolution played a crucial role in transforming Indian agriculture to achieving self-sufficient. That all leads to the tremendous increasing of production of food that leads to achieving of self-sufficient of food. So this is what the green revolution is. The tremendous increase in the food production, we call it as green revolution. So because the key features of it is because of they increase the high yielding variety of seeds, and introduction of breed seeds that produce more grains per plant. The grain content of the plants is increased tremendous way, and the use of fertilizers, weedicides, pesticides came into existence, thereby the harming pests, insects, the weedicides should be controlled. Right children? The main improved techniques are adaptation of irrigation systems, like the more modern methods came into existence, like a sprinkler system, drip irrigation system, thereby the utilization of water is in the scarcity areas. They use drip irrigation system, sprinkler system, thereby they are providing water to the plants. The technique of water from the plants is the availability of water is not is enough for the cultivation of crops, and the system of tube wells, sprinkler systems ensure the crop received adequate sufficient amount of water to the crops, even in dry periods also. In the areas of scarcity of water areas also, the providing water is sufficient. And and machineries like tractors, harvesting, reduce the manual labor and increase the efficiency of work, thereby in small period of time only the crop is going to be taken to the hands of the farmer. And impact on agriculture, it increased the crop yields such as wheat, the staple food, mainly the staple food having the sufficient yield is due to the green revolution. It's a dramatic production of increases ensuring stable food. It makes the sustainability, the stability of the staple food like wheat and rice, it provided all over the country due to because of the green revolution. So this is what today's session children, and we'll discuss another some more content is there. So we will discuss in the tomorrow session children. I hope you all clear about this session, and if any doubts please comment in the comment section. And before going to the end the session children, I would like to remind very important news for you children. So don't forget this, we are starting the foundation course on this April 1st onwards children. So the next batch is going to start from the April 15th onwards. So I hope you all should be aware of it. So I am once again reminding you children. So from the April 15th onwards we are starting a new batch. So it is from both online also and offline also. Those who are interested in offline, you can come to our institute name called NEET World, present in Hyderabad near Narayani Guda. Near Narayani Guda near metro station, and coming to the online students who want to attend through online. So contact in the below number children. So thereby you can know about how to download the app and how to access the content and all that. So I hope you like this session, and do like, share and subscribe children, and thanks all of you.